actually YouTube kicking you off?
I think it's the streaming software, to be honest.
Streamlabs.
Yeah, so let's see. Let's see if it'll reconnect. Here we go. YouTube. Okay. Let's see. I'm not going to play the
Did you put
beginning
another
again.
link in that? Did you put another link in that killed video?
No, hold on. I got to do it.
Follow this link to this video. Now follow this link to this video.
Right? It's okay. All right, you guys. We're trying this again.
We are
Alright.
not feeling the shalom.
Yeah. Okay, it looks like things are back. And also, I'll replay the alert that just played. Thank you for KGUP Presents for your donation. Cheers, thank you.
Thank you, shalom.
And also, shalom for the super chat from Smoke C.
Thank you. I wish that the super chat helped the streaming.
I know. So, sorry about the technical difficulties. So we should be good now. So let's continue.
We'll do a very quick recap. Like, the whole idea is that Avram was in a city. You connect to the Creator better in the wilderness. So when he was trying to connect to the Creator and there was all the idolatry that was around him, the Creator told him to go out to nature to reconnect with him. And when you try to connect with the Creator, you have to be careful because you have intuition and influence, and you have to decide between it being from yourself, from an outside source, or from the Creator. But the more you do it, the more you'll get used to recognizing, the piece of listening to the Creator. And ever since I started doing this back in 2002, it's been an adventure, to say the least.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, 2012. Sorry, not 2002. Sorry, 2012. And I was reading on Karen's screen, something else that we didn't point out on verse 12:4 is, people that say, "Oh, I've lived too much of my life. It's too late for me to change now," and they're like, 40 years old. Avram was 75 when he started following the Creator. 75. So, this whole thing about, age has nothing to do with anything. It's just how long you've been here.
Yeah.
You can restart, you can reboot at any point in your life. For me, it was in my early 20s, and my life changed. Like, that old Jack has nothing to do with me. He's dead. So it's never too late to change. And I'm sure people, who have woken up to the flat earth reality can say the same thing, because as soon as you realize that the earth is flat, everything changes. Your whole life changes. So it's never too late to start changing. Agreed?
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Alrighty. So in verse 12, he got called out and he's on his way out to the wilderness. And like I was saying earlier, these names have meaning. And if you look at the origins of these names, you'll see that they're all descendants from Noah. Every city, every country, you can trace back to its origins of the first family that got off the ark. So that's also interesting. And he went into Egypt. He lied to the king. and he was blessed for it.
That's right.
And some people, they have this whole thing like you should never, ever, ever, ever lie. And I disagree. I think there are problematic situations where you have to not tell the whole truth. Let's put it that way.
Especially if it's in situations where it's self-preservation is involved.
Exactly. And I mean, this is no different than what we deal with right now. They may think, well, because you're a righteous person, you'll never lie. Therefore, we'll ask you questions that will, quote unquote, entrap you into the answer that we're looking for, right? Anyone who looks into First Amendment right testers and stuff like that, or a situation where people know their, quote unquote, know their rights, and they say stuff like, I don't answer questions, that's valid. I'm just saying, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we can go to, we can go ahead to 13.
All righty. And I see somebody asking about where the other episodes are that aren't on my channel, that aren't on this channel. I have another channel. It's Unveiling This Realm. I have it listed on my channel page that you can link to it. I stream over there when this channel has a strike, and now I'm back on this channel because that channel has a strike. Or I stream live on Odyssey, Twitch, and Rockfin. Okay? So that's where you can see the streams. Every stream is on Rockfin and every stream is on Odyssey. And those are the only two places where all of the series is complete on one channel. Because YouTube sucks.
I have been collecting them. If you go to Just Jack Flat Earth and go to Interviews and Hangouts is the playlist, you'll see them all there. Also, my streams that I did with Austin Whitsitt Gets It as well.
There you go.
And we get into some other stuff. We're not methodically going through the scripture with me and Austin because, we talk about more.
It's probably more advanced.
Yeah, well, not really. It's not more advanced. It's just we get into other subjects that is not specifically going step by step through the scriptures, but it's all scripture based. Mm-hmm. All of it. I debunk a lot of things in churchianity on Whitsitt's channel. So,
awesome.
Using scripture, yeah, which send people spiraling.
Have you guys started doing that again?
Yeah, we did do another Shabbat stream last week, and the thing about Whitsitt is, if nobody watches him, everybody should go watch Whitsitt Gets It. That's WITSIT space GETS space IT. He does a lot of activism, and he's driving all over America to do it. Yeah. And I don't know anything about sports, but right now he's been streaming at the important games near Lake Michigan. I don't know, these important basketball games. And so he was telling me how, if you watch the last stream that he did there, he actually got harassed by the cops, and thankfully he knew what to say to stand up for himself. But after he left there, he went back and he read through the ordinances again, and now he's even more equipped to say, no, this is exactly what the ordinance says, because he's going to print it out. But he's out there not only flat smacking people, but he's also telling people that they got to get right with the Creator and talk to people how they've changed the name of the one that they called Jesus and all this other stuff. So he hits a lot of subjects, and he's very quick and very articulate. Mm-hmm. I'm not boasting, but kind of like myself, I'm very fast and, go through the information quickly, because even if they're just passing by, it goes subconsciously, and something later may trigger them that will remind them of the seed that's been planted. And that's what he's doing. And anybody who gets an opportunity for an open door to just share a little bit of truth should absolutely take it. Mm-hmm. Be bold in sharing truth, regardless of what they may mock or ridicule. Just remember, that's just the initial reaction. That happens to everyone. So eventually something's going to click. So don't be afraid to share.
Word.
There's my rant.
Well, with everything that's going on in the world today, now is just I'm done. You know,
Yeah, if you keep
now I
your
don't
mouth
even
shut,
care.
if you keep your mouth shut, nothing's going to get better. It's just going to get
Yeah,
worse.
we have to get
So,
louder. All
for
right.
sure. All right, so Genesis 13.
All right, Genesis 13. And Avram went up from Mitzrayim into the south, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him.
Right. Now, Lot is actually Lot, but
Lot.
that's okay.
That's right. Lot.
Mitzrayim is what they call Egypt today. And Mitzrayim is actually a descendant of Ham, and you can see this in Genesis 10:6. So Mitzrayim is Egypt. That came from Ham. So I'm just saying, though.
Okay.
And
what?
Go ahead. Oh no, I was gonna say that the names like Avram means the lifted father, and Lot means the wrapped or the veiled, which we addressed last week. And this is Avram's nephew, Lot.
Okay. Went out of Egypt.
Yep. See Egypt. Probably the second. See, there's two words there.
Yeah.
Because it says from Egypt.
Ah, okay. There, that makes sense. No wonder I was like, why am I not picking up the right word?
Which sometimes they show the root word, like that's the root mem.
Mm-hmm.
That was that first number. Sometimes they show it, but very barely ever. So I don't know why they decided to include it there, but great. Because now you can actually see that the root word that typically is not shown, this is an example of that.
Okay, cool. All right. And Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold.
Okay. Now, I wanted to go through this because when they choose the word livestock, they're actually deciding which word to use here, because it actually just means possessions. Like if you read their herd
Uh-huh. Oh, we lost Jack. Very rich in cattle, but
it's your prop.
Okay. You there? So something bought, something that is property.
Hello?
That is property.
Hello?
But, hello? Yes? Can you hear me?
Okay. I'm just making sure you can hear me because I keep clipping out.
Yeah.
Yes, so he was very rich in property, and that would include livestock, but they're taking freedom in which word they use there.
Yeah, but their first definition says property, but only livestock.
Yeah, not necessarily. Because if you keep reading, it says abstract as well. So how could it be only cattle, you know?
I don't know. Anyway.
Because it isn't and stuff.
All right. And he went on his journey from the south as far as Beit El, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Beit El and Ai.
Very good. Now, Beit El is what we would, in the English, Bethel. And Bethel means house of El. And this is not named this until 4 generations later. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, 3 generations later. So, again, this is Moses writing the history, and he's talking about that location that of Baal. That's where he went to.
Mm-hmm.
He went as far south as that.
A place in Palestine is what it says. I wonder if that's...
Yeah, Palestine. Palestine is definitely a new word. Palestine is what they started calling it in the 40s, I believe, is when they started calling it Palestine.
No, Palestine was being called Palestine before the 40s, wasn't it?
I'm gonna check. Now that we're definitely going off.
Okay, we're
track
definitely
here,
okay.
All
right.
I just want to look this up. Mm-hmm. The history of Palestine is the study of Palestine. Well, that doesn't help.
Okay. I'll just keep
Yeah,
reading.
go ahead.
To the
Yeah,
place to the place of the slaughter place which he had made there at first, and there Abram called on the name of Jehovah. Now Lot, who went with Abram, also
okay,
had flocks.
Palestine was named by the Greeks in the 12th century. Sorry.
Okay.
But
I
it's still
thought
a
it
new
was
concept.
older. I thought that
Yeah.
was an old name. Okay,
Yep.
so now Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their possessions were so great, so they could not dwell together.
All right, so they started getting prosperous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both Avram and Lot. And they're like, there's not enough land here for the both of us. And there appears to be fighting between his shepherds here. We're going to see here in a moment.
Right. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Avram's livestock and of the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. And at that time the Canaanites and the Perizzites dwelt in the land.
Okay, so this strife is called disunity. In other words, they're not able to join. And the word join is the same word as family, so mishpachah. So this breaks the mishpachah, the joining. Okay. And Canaanite is from Canaan, that descendant that we read about earlier.
Right.
And the Perizzite is the villager because their cities did not have walls.
Okay.
All right.
Then Abram said to Lot, "Let there be no strife between you and me, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brothers."
All right, so there's a word that's like not in here that did not get translated. I'm going to go to the KJV. Yeah, so the KJV actually has it, and the Scriptures version does not, where it says, "I pray thee."
Mm-hmm.
So that word pray is the word, when people say that they pray to the Creator, this is the word pray, but they've turned it into this like ritualistic thing where you bow your head, close your eyes, fold your hands, da-da-da-da-da, right?
Mm-hmm.
But pray simply means to make a request. So if you were talking to the Creator and you're just saying, I need your direction, or I need this provision or whatever, you're making a request from the Creator. You're not going through a ritual.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
Makes sense. Okay. Oh, Jack's lost again.
Great.
Jack, were you talking? Because you went out again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm just saying it changed the way that I quote unquote prayed once I, understood this, that I was actually just making a request and not going through a religious ritual. Yeah, thank you.
Right. You don't have to say the rosary 10 times to make your prayer heard louder.
Thankfully, I never got into that. But yeah, like there's no repetition, no loudness or softness. No, yeah, it's just you're just talking to the Creator and saying, help me out here.
Yeah. All right. Is not all the land before you? Please separate from me. If you take the left, then I go to the right, or if you go to the right, then I go to the left.
Right. And that right can be the right hand, and it's yamin, sorry. And it could also mean to the south, because when you're looking at the sun, to the right hand is the south. Just FYI.
Well, you mean if it's rising?
Yeah. So whenever they're talking about the cardinal directions,
mm-hmm.
like east is what comes before. So that's like the beginning. And that's where they look to distinguish their cardinal directions.
Okay.
And then like the sun, when it sets in the west, it goes to the sea,
mm-hmm.
and sea and west are the same word.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just to give you the concept of how the Hebrews understood cardinal directions.
Yeah. And Lot lifted his eyes and saw all the plain of Yarden, and it was well watered everywhere, before Jehovah destroyed Sodom and Amorah, like the garden of Jehovah, like the land of Mitzrayim, as you go toward Soar.
Yep. Very good.
So Lot chose for himself all the plain of Yarden, and Lot moved east. Thus they separated from each other. Avram dwelling in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelling in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent as far as Sodom.
So here we go. Lot is deciding to go over to the cities. So already we're seeing that he's going back to the populous areas. Why? Probably because it made a lot better for trading and, getting resources and all that other stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because we're going to see this like in the next verse.
Right. But the men of Sodom were evil and sinned before Jehovah exceedingly so.
Right. So this dysfunction, this is that word ra, dysfunction, evil, and sin being off target and off measure. Right. So it's not measuring up and it's off target. It's dysfunction. It's not lining up with the Creator. They're doing their own thing.
Okay. And after Lot had separated from him, Jehovah said to Abram, "Now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward."
Yeah, I find this interesting that the Scriptures version is not putting in "I pray thee," right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's yet another "I pray" or "I plea."
Mm-hmm.
North is at this one. This is north literally means towards Polaris, which is very interesting.
Really?
This north, yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, please do.
Gotta look.
It's very cool.
Properly hidden, that is dark, used of the north as a quarter. Let's see.
You might have to go to the ancients.
I'm going back. By implication, to hoard or reserve, figuratively, to deny, to protect. What? Ancient Hebrew. A storing up or hiding of something.
I think you clicked on the wrong number.
Okay, let's see. Because you said, which one? You
North.
said northward, right?
Yeah.
North. So I clicked on north.
Yeah, it's Sapan. Yeah, watchtower, watching. There you go.
There we go. North. From the North Star. Here we go. From the North Star, which is watched for direction.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know what you were on before.
Well, I clicked on that same word. I don't know. Because I was in Strong's and not Ancient Hebrew. That's why.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
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 Jack?
Can you hear me now? Hello? Testing 1 2.
Jack?
1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Hello?
Are you messing with me?
No, I'm not messing with you. Hello?
Butthole.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Not messing with you?
Hello?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
I said I could hear
sorry.
you the whole time. Can you hear me?
I just heard hello, Jack, but that's what you always say, even when you can't hear me. Sorry, people in the audience. I'm very sorry.
So confused. All right.
All right, so north we just saw was toward the North Star.
Toward the North Star.
As a watch. So like watchmen on the watchtower and all this stuff, it's all rooted in this word.
Mm-hmm.
And they would know which position to watch. Like they had a cardinal direction. Like you're supposed to watch the east, you're supposed to watch the west, you're supposed to watch the south, you're supposed to watch the north.
Mm-hmm.
And that was based on the North Star. Why? Because the watching only happened at night. So this is like, the only position in Hebrew culture that had a night job. Just saying though.
Okay. And also the North Star never moves.
Correct. And this is that word west is that word that I was talking about that also means sea. So it's toward the sea, westwardly.
Okay. Should we show that too? Let's show
Sure.
that too. Sea.
Why not?
Here we go. Sea. Picture of the hand representing where sea, also the direction of the sea, the west.
Yep. Yep. And this is also the same root as Yom. He called the light Yom.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. So they named sea after the Yom. And when he said the gathered waters, he called them Yamim. So it's the same root word, Yod Mem.
Okay.
As if the water gathers light or something. I'm just saying, though.
All right. For all the land which you see, I shall give to you and your seed forever.
Yeah, and this is a repetitive thing throughout all of Scripture that he refers to us as seed and fruit and tree, et cetera,
Mm-hmm.
which is another interesting perspective.
And I shall make your seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man could count the dust of the earth, then your seed also could be counted.
I can do that. No, I'm just kidding. One grain of sand.
I know, right? That's ridiculous. Arise, walk in the land through its length and its width, for I give it to you. So Avram moved his tent and went and dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built a slaughter place there to Yehovah.
And like I said, I don't like slaughter place. Altar is better.
Yes.
Whenever it says, it doesn't say here, dwelt by the Timbereth trees. Okay, so, yeah.
Well,
I have a different translation there. There, Avram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre.
Yeah,
so
it says plain, yeah.
Yeah. So the Timbereth tree the word plain literally means the land of the oaks. Excuse me. So this is wide open land with oak trees in it. Right? It's not a forest, it's like open land with trees.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of how it is actually in parts of the Bay Area in San Francisco. There's big like hills and there'll just be oak trees, random oak trees all over the place.
Yeah, it's like that. And the reason that I think the reason the scriptures took freedom there to put the Tibereth tree is because it specifies later that he does dwell near the Tibereth trees. So I think they're just showing this is that same area that they were talking about later with the Tibereth trees. I just don't think they should have done that. Or they should have put it in parentheses or something, you know.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so that's the end of
so
that
now I'm picking on my favorite version. Are you saying no version is right, Jack? I'm saying sometimes you need to look into stuff. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it is what it is.
That's exactly why we're doing this stuff, to show that even people with the best intention to have the best translation and stuff, they still will put their quote unquote bias into the translation.
Right.
It just happens.
Okay.
I speculate a lot of flat earth stuff within these scriptures, so
yeah,
because that's the perspective I have.
Right.
But they would have had the same perspective.
Jack, and your connection just sucks. Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Good. Okay. It got really quiet there for a second.
Yeah.
And exist in Yom.
And
it came to be in Yom.
Okay. And it came to be in the days in
Yom.
In Yom of Amraphel, sovereign of Shinar, Arioch, sovereign of Elisar, Kedorla Omer, sovereign of Elam, and Tidal, sovereign of Goyim.
Very good.
Goyim.
Yep, Goyim. You ever heard of that before?
I've heard that word before.
What does that mean? So go ahead and look that up.
Okay.
I was going to stop you there anyways, but, you know. In KJV, it just says nations, so...
Right. Goy, apparently from the same root as this one, foreign nation, troop, animals, or a flight of locusts, Gentile, heathen?
Right, so why would one word have so many definitions? It's because it's a group. Excuse me, it's a group.
Mm-hmm.
So it could literally just be translated as the king of the groups.
That's weird.
Right, so later it was translated by Jews as Gentile. Well, what does Gentile mean? It means unbeliever to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, if they say that you're a goyim, it means that you don't believe in the Creator, which is BS. It simply means nations. And in fact, Israel is called goy in different parts of the scripture because they're a nation. They're a group of people.
Huh.
So goy does not mean unbeliever. Now, heathen does, right? But they associate the two. Heathen means unbeliever, right? So that's different. But when you do that association and you read, especially when the Jews use it, you know, you and I are the quote unquote goyim because we weren't born in Israel or we didn't convert to Judaism. Well, that's all BS. We are goy because we're of nation, but if you join yourself to the Creator, then you are the goy Yisrael.
Mm-hmm.
So that just destroys their whole theological nonsense about the goy. I'm just saying, though.
I mean, not that we all didn't know it was nonsense anyway.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like it's like they changed the Noahide law thing. So the Noahide law, we talked about this back when we were reading Noah, because that's where it comes from, Noahide.
Mm-hmm.
And what that was is they said, okay, we have our set of rules, which is the Torah, and then you have a different set of rules as the Goyim. But, you know, you can read very clearly that there is no different set of rules. And then they changed the Noahide laws to basically like, we're the only ones that, being Jews, we're the only ones who get to like stick around and everybody else needs to get wiped out type of thing. You know, it gets crazy.
Yeah.
So, alrighty.
All right.
14:2.
That they fought against Bera, sovereign of Sodom, Bersha, sovereign of Amorah, Shinab, sovereign of Admah, Shem Ever, sovereign of Savoyim, and the sovereign of Bela, that is Soar.
Right. So people can look up these words, you know, for their own translation and stuff. It's very interesting stuff for the different names. Bara means like son of dysfunction. Ra, like Ra, evil.
Mm-hmm.
So son of evil. Shanav is to change the father. Shem Ever is unseen name of flying. So, I mean, it gets really interesting. But the word war is what I wanted to look at here. So they went to war with. Mm-hmm. That fought against also means to bread against. So this is where you really need to look at context when you're translating a word. Because the way that you would get into bread is you would tear it apart, right? This is before the invention of sliced bread, right? Mm-hmm. So tearing and kneading the dough, it all corresponds with this word war. So it's the tearing and kneading. So like as people like, you know, mashing into each other and tearing each other apart and mashing into each other and tearing each other apart, like when you knead dough is the same word for war.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And I also like that sovereign, where it says sovereign, that it's translated as king. Right.
So sovereign, the reason that they use sovereign there is because it can be translated pharaoh, king, prince. So different regions have different names for their quote unquote sovereigns, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're
Jack.
test two.
Hello.
Testing.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
1 2 1 2.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, king and kingdom, all the same root word, but they use sovereign because there's different titles for these sovereigns.
Mm-hmm. All right. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim, that is the Salt Sea.
Right. Now, how could a valley be a salt sea? Well, because it wasn't always a salt sea. That's an interesting thing.
Yeah. Okay. 12 years they served Kedorla Omer, that's a hard one,
Mm-hmm.
and in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year, Kedorla Omer and the sovereigns that were with him came and struck the Rephaim and the Ashtaroth Karnaim and the Zuzim in Ham and the Amites in the Shaweh Kiryathaim. Holy smokes.
and the W can be pronounced as a double V, right, Shave?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Rephaim, there are times where the angels are called Rephaim, and Rephaim are later described as giants, but they're actually called the healers, which is very interesting. And the Ashtaroth is the
Rapha,
plural.
Rephaim. This is saying it means giant.
Yeah, it doesn't mean giant at all.
Let's see.
It means healers.
Cure,
See?
heal, physician, repair. Weird.
Yeah, but they're later described as giants. That's why they can do that.
Were they giant
Right.
healers?
Yes, they were giant healers.
They were
Yes.
giant healers, okay.
Yep. Now, they're described later as giant. They're not defined as giant. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when they go to war with the Rephaim, they said, hey, these dudes are really freaking big. So that's the association. So they can just put that in for the definition, but it's not definition. It's just referred to as giants. So the other one I want to look at as Ashtaroth. Ashtaroth is where you get the Asherah poles and Ishtar and Astarte. This is the feminine deity of sex and war.
Ashtaroth, the double horns, a symbol of the deity, a place east of Jordan, Ashtaroth Karnam. Let's see. Also,
Yeah, increase.
Ashar.
Sexual prosperity, if you will, and fertility. So this is where we get Easter.
To be wealthy, rich, riches, the riches that make one wealthy.
Yeah, that's Asher. But Ashtar wrote, that's where they add the Tav in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it the deity-S.
Okay.
The the goddess of fertility and war.
Okay, there's no ancient Hebrew for that one.
No, you have to go to
all
the
way
root.
to the root.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, this is
Here we go.
You can look it up historically.
False goddesses in the Canaanite religion, usually related to fertility cult.
There you go.
A city in Bashan, east of Jordan, given to Manasseh.
Yeah, and you'll see later in scriptures where they have to deal with Asherah poles, and they'll have a Asherah altar with a tree next to it, and that tree represents the missing member, the missing genitalia member of her son Tammuz. But this is historic. This is not written in the scripture. But you can see where Israel becomes evil and they start worshiping Tammuz. So Tammuz is mentioned, Astra is mentioned, but the way that they did their worship is in the Canaanite history, so you can actually see it from them. But basically child sacrifices and orgies, the typical nonsensical stuff.
All right.
And when I say orgies, I'm not talking about consensual either, so it's bad stuff. But anyway.
Okay. And the Horites in their mountain of Seir, as far
Very
as
good.
El Paran, which is by the wilderness.
Yep. And El Paran is the deity of decorations.
That's funny. And they turned back and came to En Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and struck all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites who dwelt in Hatzetsin Tamar. Okay. And the sovereign of Sodom... Oh, we lost Jack. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. You're at verse
14:8, yeah.
Okay.
And the sovereign of Sodom, and the sovereign of Amorah, and the sovereign of Admah, and the sovereign of Seboim, and the sovereign of Bela, that is Soar, went out and joined together in battle in the valley of Siddim against...
And joined together, the join together here is not the same join as family. This is why English and Hebrew are different. So there's different words that we translate as join. But this literally means to make an arrangement, make a plan.
Okay.
So they're going to war, so they're conspiring, basically.
Okay. Siddim against Kedorla Ormor, sovereign of Elam, and Tidal, sovereign of Goyim, and Amraphel, sovereign of Shinar, and Aryak, sovereign of Elasar, 4 sovereigns against 5.
Yeah, and the other thing that you should see here is Goyim may not necessarily be a capital G type of scenario. In other words, he was a sovereign of the different groups rather than the sovereign of a group called Goyim. You understand what I'm saying? The scriptures decided to capitalize it for some reason. I don't know their intention, but it could just mean of the nations or of the groups. So just take that into consideration. But yeah, so there's 4 kings going against 5 kings, and none of these have to do with Abraham directly, or later called Abraham, now called Avram.
Okay. And in the valley of Siddim had many tar pits, and the sovereigns of Sodom and Amorah fled and fell there, and the remainder fled to the mountains. Now
later these are called Sodom and Gomorrah,
right,
by translation, but it is Sodom and Amorrah.
Okay. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Amorrah and all their food and went away. And they took Lot, Avram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and left. And one who had escaped came and informed Avram the Hebrew, for he dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and they had a covenant with Abram.
Okay, so and this is also the terebinth tree. It's, field of oaks, and whereas this is the first time where Avram is called the Hebrew. Hebrew is Ivri, which means a crossing over. Just FYI, it's not actually Hebrew, it's Ivri, and it means crossing over. And then where it says he had a covenant with Avram, that's true, but I think the KJV covers something confederate with Avram. So it's more than just a covenant, it's a Lord covenant. So this is the word Adonai, or no, it's not, sorry. This is the word Baal.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just clicked on it and it came up as Baal.
Yeah, Baal means Lord. So, later we talked about this. We looked at this, that
Mm-hmm.
Baal later becomes the name of a deity, which just means, master, lord, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this covenant is not just a covenant like, hey, we get along together. This covenant is like, okay, Avram, you're in charge of this area. Like, we give you lordship. Like, we understand that you have authority here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it means. So it's deeper than just a covenant, which, if you look there, you can see it clearly now because it says Baal covenant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lordship covenant with Avram.
Okay.
Like, he was getting that big, dude. Like, remember, he just went out in the wilderness, started making babies,
Mm-hmm.
became prosperous, so much so that they gave him lordship over the land.
Okay. And when Avram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants who were born in his own house and went in pursuit as far as Dan.
So population was definitely growing. He had 314 warriors within his tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dan, this is 4 generations later. So how could they go to Dan if he's not even around? Well, that's what the name of the land is, dedicated to Dan in the future generations.
Okay. And he and his servants divided against them by night and struck them and pursued them as far as Hovah, which is on the left of Damasek.
Yeah, so later this is called Damascus.
Mm-hmm.
So Damascus is probably more familiar to people. It talks about in the end times, whatever that means,
Mm-hmm.
that Damascus will become a ruinous heap. It will be uninhabitable. So the fact that hasn't happened yet means it's not the end yet. Just saying, though.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
I threw that in there for other people who are listening.
Okay. So he brought back all the goods and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. Jack? Hello?
Yeah, I knew I was breaking up because I couldn't hear you. So
Yeah.
can you hear me now? Okay.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So brought back all the goods,
Mm-hmm.
and goods can also be called his collections, and brought back his brother Lot and his goods, and as well as the women and the people. So you got 5 against 4, 5 kings fighting against 4 kings, and Avram goes in here with his measly 318 people and knocks them all out to save his brother. Now, granted, he probably had the element of surprise, right?
Right.
Because he didn't go out to war with them. They were probably camping out, and he probably snuck in there and took the 318.
Well, it says they did it by night.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah,
definitely what they did. They snuck in there.
Saying,
they did like a guerrilla operation.
Exactly. I don't think that they went in there with torches blazing and trumpets bleeding, and they just went in there. They snuck in there and wiped out, all the kings
Mm-hmm.
to get to his brother.
That's pretty badass.
Definitely.
And then
Definitely badass.
and took them all back. Okay.
And that's how you love your neighbor. I'm just kidding. Sorry. Had to do it.
All right.
All right.
And after his return from the striking of Kedorla, Omer, and the sovereigns who were with him, the sovereign of Sodom came out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh, that is the sovereign's valley.
Very good.
And Melchizedek, sovereign of Shalem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was the priest of the Most High El.
Very important here. This verse is very important, okay? So it talks about this, later in the book, it talks about this dude, Yeshua, who came not of the order of Aaron, but of the order of the Melchizedek, which is this right here, Melchizedek, okay?
Mm-hmm.
In this particular instance, it's actually Malachi Tzedek, which means my righteous king. And this is sovereign of Shalem. Now, Shalem may not sound very familiar except for like Salem that we, adopted.
Mm-hmm.
But this later gets called Yerushalem, which I'm sure you've heard that.
Yeah.
right? Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
So later on, David, makes the claim of this being the most set apart city of all of the land. And Melchizedek, or Melchizedek, is the king of this region at this time. This is before they go into the land. And he was a priest of the Most High El. Well, there was a lot of quote unquote El, deities of that land.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to make a distinction here of the Most High El, which is El Elyon, El of the collection of aboves. So it's the highest of high, right? So El Elyon is going to come into play here in a little bit, because the king of Sodom is also going to bless by a deity.
Oh, wow. The root word is Allah.
Yes. Allah means to raise up.
That sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Does.
All right. Okay. And he blessed him and said, "Blessed be Avram of the Most High El, possessor of the heavens and the earth."
All right. So we're talking about the big cheese here. We're talking about the creator.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And blessed be the Most High El, who has delivered your enemies into your hand, and he gave him a tenth of all.
Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't just say El Elyon, right? It's kind of reverse, right? Most High El Most High,
Mm-hmm.
But El Elyon, who has delivered the enemies into your hand, and he gave him a tenth of all. Now, there's a dispute amongst scholars whether Melchizedek gave a tenth to Avram, or if Avram gave a tenth to Melchizedek. But yeah, that's for people to figure out on their own.
Well, it says Avram blessed by Melchizedek.
Right, but don't forget
Melchizedek.
the order of words in English is, per translation. It says, "And do bless El Elyon, that which delivered to him tithe from all." So it's it's kind of like, it's kind of hard to distinguish because there's no action to distinguish who the tenth was given to. I'm just saying, though.
Yeah, and then okay. And the sovereign of Sodom said to Avram, "Give me the people and take the goods for yourself."
He's like, "Dude, I just want the people back. You take all the loot."
Okay, so that does make it seem like maybe Avram was the one giving him stuff, or trying to give him stuff. Oh boy. Hello.
1, 2.
Hello.
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 Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Testing. Okay.
Yes.
My goodness. All right. So you were saying what now?
I was saying that line there, that makes it sound like it was Avram who was trying to give Melchizedek
a tenth to Melchizedek.
Right. Yep. Okay. But Abram said to the sovereign of Sodom, "I have lifted my hand to Yehovah, the Most High El, the possessor of the heavens and the earth."
Right. So he's making a distinction with Sodom, the sovereign of Sodom. Mm-hmm. Like, he's like, "Oh, dude, I just want the people. You take all the loot. Mm-hmm. Even though I was the one going to war, you can take all the loot."
Yeah, so he says, I've raised my hand, I've lifted my hand. So he's saying is he saying that he made a promise to Yehovah?
Yep.
Not to take a thread or sandal strap or whatever is yours, lest you should say, "I have made Avram rich," except only what the young men have eaten and the portion of the men who went with me. Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion. So
these dudes who went with him, to to go raid the area,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to get a portion. But Avram's like, dude, I don't want you like coming up later, years from now, saying, yeah, I'm the one who made Avram rich. I gave him all the loot from that war with the 9 kings.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Sodom also had, deities that he would, worship and bless by. And so he's making a distinction. I swear by the Most High El Yehovah. So he names him and says the Most High El and the possessor of heaven and earth. And that's Shemayim and Eretz, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back really quick to, where is it? 1418.
Okay.
So Shalom is also Shalom, right? This is the completion piece. Like everything that you need is there, therefore you're at peace, okay? But the bread and the wine thing is a practice that's done throughout, like, Israel culture all the way up through Judaism, and now they have extra rules added to it and stuff. But breaking of bread is a way to end war. And it's also a way, if you want to join families, you would break bread, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this goes through multiple cultures to this day. Like if you really want to like make a joining with two peoples, you would share a meal together, right? Break bread. And this breaking of bread is that same word that was used for war. So on the negative sense of the word, it's war, but on the positive sense of the word, it's bread. And this is very interesting because the bread and the wine is also something that happens in the New Testament, and I'll let people look that up for themselves to see what I'm talking about there. But this is not a wafer and a little cup, a little plastic cup and a little round wafer in a church. This is an actual breaking of bread. It's an actual connection between two peoples. And this is something that they did on the regular, not just once a week. I'm just saying, though. So this is not a religious New Testament thing, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about, bread and wine?
Like the
communion.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's not. That's what I'm saying. It's not that. There's no round disc wafer and little shot glass of wine.
Right. You're not committing cannibalism in effigy.
Correct. Yes, exactly. Yes. There is symbology of, the breaking of the bread, and there's symbology in the drinking of the wine. And the way that it's done today in practice is they say Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, B'rei Pri Hagafen, and Hamotzi Lechem min haaretz. So this is who bring blessed be, they say Adonai, but it's Yehovah, King of the universe or King of eternity, who brings forth bread from the earth and fruit from the vine. So it's not blessing the bread and it's not blessing the wine. It's blessing Yehovah. It's blessing the Creator for provision. It says, so the Malachi Tzedek, sovereign of Shalom, brought out bread and wine, and he was the priest of Most High El, and he blessed him. And said to Yah, blessed be Avram of the Most High El. But the verses break it up. It gets mixed up.
Okay, yeah, you broke up there for a sec.
Oh, I broke it up too?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I said the verse broke it up and then I broke up.
Yeah,
That was funny.
Because you said, and he blessed him and said...
Yeah, so when it says, and he blessed him, that verse breaks it up there,
Mm-hmm.
but it actually says that he blessed the Most High El. It says he was a priest of Most High El, and he blessed him. And he said, "Blessed be Avram of the Most High El." So he's blessing the Most High El, and then telling the Most High El to bless Avram. So he's blessing both the Creator and Avram.
Okay.
Not just Avram. It just gets broken up with the verse. So.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. So that's all I have translated today.
Yeah.
Do you have my notes available so you can share the screen? So you can show people what I go through?
Yeah.
I think people would get an interesting perspective on that.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Because I don't just wing it. It's not like me and Karen get on the stream here and I'm like, oh, let me look into this verse and try to pull something out real quick. You know, it's not like that. A lot of this information I have learned previously, but like I've boasted in the past, Karen is actually forcing me to do a better scripture study. So thank you, Karen.
All right.
I like digging into it again.
If you look on screen,
and I can't see it because
I know you can't see it because
yeah,
but
that's fine.
Do you want? I can share the screen with you if you want and take off eSword.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Okay, here, hold on. Let's see.
Even though I can see it on my own laptop, but I want to see what they see. There you go.
So this is what they see.
Yeah, so if you look there, I'm not just translating the root words, which is what the interlinear do. I actually translate the prefixes, the suffixes, the root words, the multiple possibilities of the definition of the word. Like if you look at the word for, look at 13:7, the word shepherd can mean friend or feeder or shepherd. So all of that, needs to be considered.
I see right here. Friend,
Yep.
feeder, shepherd.
Yep. And it's the plural of.
Mm-hmm.
And yours actually formats it backwards than mine. Like I actually see the Hebrew on the left and then the English on the right. So that's interesting.
Well, who knows? This is, it's just converting.
It's a different format, yeah. Yeah. But you can see there, like I did highlight a few things that I wanted to address, like the North Star thing. That was very interesting, But there was other stuff that I knew from previous, like talking about the bread and the wine, talking about the Melech Tzedek. These are things that I learned previously that, jump out of the page when I'm reading it anyway. But there's Rephaim right there, heel plural, which I didn't highlight, but it stuck out to me, so I remembered it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the process that I go through every week, where I break down as much as I can. And the reason that there's a little % sign with the highlighted orange is because these notes can be incorporated into eSword to where you click on the verse and it'll bring you to that verse within eSword. But it doesn't.
I'm gonna play with this later and see if I can get it to import.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we tried it. I tried to import my notes to Karen before, but she has the Mac version and I have the PC version, and there was some kind of issue there. Even though it said it converted to Mac, I don't know why she wasn't able to see it, but I'm going to be doing some research on it as well to see if I can see if there's a better way to import it, so that she can see it off to the side. So she'll be able to see the translation and the dictionary and my notes all on the same page. And as she changes the verses in the scriptures, the notes will pop up below. So that would be pretty cool for other people to see that.
Yes.
And I can't share it from my computer because for some reason I keep glitching out on my internet connection. So, and I'm also going to try something next week where I hardwire my computer into the router and see if that helps with the issues.
That might help quite a bit, actually.
But let's go back up to the very top in chapter 13 there. Scroll up.
Okay.
And if you see Mitzrayim there, Mitzrayim is bound, rampart, from press, dual. And that sounds like very broken English to a lot of people. But to me, this makes sense. Like it's two bindings or two ramparts. And if you look right after that Hebrew of Mitzrayim, it says from with a little mem sign. So that's a prefix. It's just one letter that means from. And they typically don't define. Which was interesting. So, I mean, this is like.
Jack.
Right under the word Avram.
Jack, you broke up. I couldn't hear what you were saying there for a second.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How are you doing? Okay, so right below Avram, and excuse me for coughing. I hate that when people do it on their streams. I'm so sorry, people. Right below Avram, it says "and all," the very top line, middle. See,
okay.
"and all."
Mm-hmm.
That's just 3 letters, and it's 2 words.
Okay, gotcha.
So, I mean, this is the process that I go through. You know, I hope people appreciate it. You know, but I also do it for myself. You know, I like digging in and translating stuff fully.
Yeah.
Let's see, like the city Hai or the land Hai, which means the ruin, the twisted, like all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, that does look like a lot of work.
Yeah, my wife is bittersweet about the whole thing, because she's like, "Yay, you're finally getting to share this information with people, but man, you are taking a lot of time doing it."
Yeah, but
like,
now it'll be out there and it'll be done.
Exactly. Yeah. And I seriously appreciate it, and she does it too, because she's seen the comments that I get. You know, she's heard the phone calls that I have with people that are excited to learn this new information. You know, and I'm not trying to like convert anybody into a religion. What I'm trying to do is get people to look at the book themselves. That way they can see the information that's there that has been, you know, hidden by translations and religions and everything else to try to control people. When you have the power yourself, when you can learn how to read into it and learn how to define things for yourself, because, you know, as we saw, even my favorite version, which is the scriptures version, has some discrepancies with the literal interpretations. So it's up to me, or in, you know, their case, them, to not trust me. Like, they can go through this same process that I'm going through. They can use the same software. You know, it's really a good, you know, program to be able to dig in yourself. I had people asking me about premium downloads and stuff for the software. I suggest you just do what is there for free. It's definitely enough for, you know, surface level understanding, where you're not getting so much twisted in their religious perspective when they're writing their, you know, translations or dictionaries. So, you know, we should have done it ahead of time. But we had so many like glitches at the beginning of the stream.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to answer questions about the first 14 chapters we've gone through. If people want to type in chat, like just put a couple of question marks first and then type what question they want to ask. I do get mingled questions, even though if we put specifics on it, I've done it in other chats where I say, okay, ask me about this subject, and they ask me about something completely off the wall type, you know, questions, philosophical and religious questions. So,
all right.
Yes,
well,
Amel Walk, I do have a great wife.
Yes, he does have a great wife. I like her a lot. I love her.
Yeah, my wife, Mrs. Karen, we're going to go visit her again real soon. They're tight. They're good together.
Yeah. So does anybody have any questions that you want to ask Jack while we got him on the stream, while we're here? Let's just see if anybody has any questions.
Yeah, I agree. Bible supports flat earth. If the truth doesn't lead you to Yahuwah, which is another pronunciation of Yehovah, then question the truth you're hearing. I agree 100%. If they're leading into, you need to put money into this building so we can build a bigger building to bring more people in to charge more money, there's a problem there. It's a serious, serious problem there.
Salted Cedar said, I didn't know there were many L's, thought there only one Most High. Well, L
Yeah,
doesn't mean Most High, right?
Correct. El Elyon means Most High El. So that is specifically speaking of the highest deity. Now, Melchizedek did not have multiple deities. He only had one, but he had to distinguish because there were people who had a lot of deities, and El just means strong one. So a strong leader. So a strong leader could be a man, it could be a statue, it could be a metaphysical deity that they're, thinking up or whatever. But this is why there's a distinguishment between El Elyon, which is the Most High El, which is the possessor of heaven and earth, the Shemayim minarets, to where, they could distinguish, okay, we're talking about that one that started everything. And even though the cultures had multiple deities, they still believed in that high.
Oh, Jack.
To phase him out, and I don't mean him because it's, the creator's not male or female, but it wasn't until later that they tried to phase Jehovah out and tried to worship just other deities. Like there was the war against, or the battle of prophets or priests between Baal and Jehovah. And in English, they both mean Lord. So it's like either the Lord is God or the Lord is God. When in actuality, there's a contest of if Baal is the El, or if Jehovah is the El. Now that is the hey, the is a specific, what's the word? It's not like a car, it's the car, right? Mm-hmm. Like the L. Mm-hmm. Okay. Jack L. like the crazy dogs. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, right. Karen L, Mike L. Right. Well, Mike L, that actually comes from who is like L. That's what Michael means. So yeah, so I guess no questions there. There are some.
I see one. Hold on. There's one in. I don't know if you can answer this. It says, "Why is there so much confusion about being prosperous or not being meek, or be meek, own nothing?"
Well, the whole idea of owning nothing is definitely a New Testament philosophy, and I think that this was pushed really hard by the Catholic religion, because all of the prosperity of the land went into building or converting, I should say, temples and cathedrals and other such things. Yeah, so. So right. Freemasonry is the manipulation of knowledge, right? So knowledge is not bad, but if you're using it to control people and nations, it's very bad. Right? Especially if you're like, oh, it's occulted knowledge, like it's hidden knowledge so that we can control everything. So knowledge is not bad, and prosperity is not bad. I'm blessed, right now I'm not blessed with a job or income, but I'm blessed with property, I'm blessed with family, I'm blessed with this community that I'm a part of. Mm-hmm. I feel very, very blessed.
Absolutely. All right. I guess that's it.
All righty.
All right, you guys. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Anti-Religious Scripture Study with Karen B and Just Jack. And we appreciate you guys being here with us. I will keep streaming this particular show on my main channel. But Strange World and Unveiling This Realm, I'm not sure. If I do stream them on YouTube, they definitely aren't going to stay up there, or I may not stream them at all, or I may partial stream them on YouTube and turn it off and go to the other places. But as far as that goes. So I would encourage you guys to either go to Odyssey or Rockfin or Twitch for my other streams. But the scripture study will probably still stay here. And I probably won't do much else so that I don't lose this channel. Probably promote
Cool.
Oktoberfest and do scripture study, and that's it for now.
Yeah, that would really be a bummer if you lost the channel. But I don't know, and maybe I should ask off the screen. I don't know. But if I copy a link to the video onto my page, if your channel goes down, do they get erased?
Yes.
Okay.
If you're linking to my channel, if you're like okay, yeah, you would have to download them and upload them to your channel if you want them to stay on your channel.
Will do, and I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Just in case.
I've been backing them all up. I've been saving them on my hard drive.
Awesome.
So,
good deal.
All right.
All right, love you all.
All right.
Shabbat Shalom Mishpachah, which means peace to my family.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, y'all. Take care.